Hey everyone, it's Jake here, and welcome back to another Pokemon Go video. In today's video, we are going to be doing some Jungle Cup battles with one of our Ultra Friend battlers. And this is a player that isn't very highly ranked, but they do have like the skills, and they are learning from our practice. So I consider this pretty quality practice, not only for me to test things out, but for them to learn more information and to start improving upon what they see from not only my playstyle, but what they see from their own improvement. So yeah, in this video we're just going to be doing straight up Jungle Cup practice battles, testing our lineups and just trying to perfect this current team of 6 we have, which, if you guys don't know, we swapped out Sceptile for Venomoth, and so far I'm really liking Venom in this cup, guys. So if you guys enjoy this video, and if you're new, please don't forget to drop that subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below. What are your favorite Jungle Cup Pokemon so far besides Vigoroth, and what is your favorite line of 3, and what's your team comp currently? And also, when is your first cup, and how are you preparing for that cup? So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into these Jungle Cup battles versus 1, 2, 3, say yeah. Alrighty guys, so we are going to be opening Lantern, and they open Heracross. So this is actually a pretty good matchup for Lantern. As you can see, Water Gun is shredding through that Heracross, so we are going to block so we can keep our Lantern healthy. And at this point, we're going to make a switch into Fortress, and they actually make a pretty fast swap into Vigoroth. So this is an unfavorable matchup where we're going to try to hit this Earthquake off and see if they shield, and they do shield. So very smart, whether or not they counted the bug bites or not, very smart to block that. Pretty heads up play. And now we're just going to let our Fortress go, because this is a lost cause at this point in time. That Earthquake would have been really helpful to feint this Vigoroth, but it's okay, we have Heracross. You guys know we are going to bring in that Heracross, obviously. We are going to let this Body Slam go through. That's fine. We have plenty of health left, and we're going to get to a Mega Horn regardless. And now we just wait to see what they bring in next. And I believe they're going to switch into a Noctowl, which they do. So we're going to fire off our energy with Mega Horn, see if they block, and they do block. So that's perfect. Now we can just come in with Lantern and farm a bunch of energy. But they make a fantastic switch into Heracross to tank that Thunderbolt. And then they bring Noctowl back in with more energy, which was a fantastic play by them. But we already had a bunch of energy stored on Lantern, so we're going to finish up this game with a Thunderbolt. GG's game 1. That seemed to be really competitive. Just like the pure switching by them was fantastic. Great heads up play to switch out and soak that damage onto another Pokemon. But you guys know Lantern walls Noctowl pretty hard. So yeah, let's jump into game number 2. Alright, so in game number 2 here against 1, 2, 3, say yeah, we both open Vigoroth. So you gotta love these mirror matchups, guys. And the strategy here is to piggyback, and as you can see, I get the piggyback, and we're going to block that first Body Slam. We're going to fire off our own. I believe they got the piggyback back, but we're going to fire 2 Body Slams immediately. They do get another counter in, which is bad, but they're going to actually use both shields, so that's pretty good for us. We have the shield advantage, so we're fine giving up the switch priority, because again, we still have that one shield, and we have 2 Pokemon in the back that can handle Vigoroth. So they're going to actually give us switch priority now, which was probably a fault on their end. They should have just let that Vigoroth go down so that they can now bring in Noctowl. Because I'm predicting they have a Grass type in the back here. So we're going to overcharge a little bit on Lantern and feint that Noctowl. As you can see, we have a tiny bit of extra energy in case. And let's see what they bring out next. So they actually have Graveler in the back, guys. So if they didn't switch out there, we would have been screwed, because, well, it would have been depending, because like we had Venomoth, which gets countered by both Noctowl and that Alolan Graveler there. but we also had Lantern that counters Alolan Graveler and Noctowl, so it would all just depend. Yeah, either way, whatever they swap into, I can swap it into Lantern, and they won't have a counter to my Lantern after that. So it could have went either way. So let's get into game number 3. Alright guys, so jumping into game number 3, we are leading Lantern and they lead Noctowl. So this is a perfect matchup for us to be in. They're going to obviously swap out into that Venusaur, so we decide to swap into Noctowl. Now in the moment, I could have made a more efficient swap into Fortress, because as you guys know, Fortress will be 2 times resisting those Frenzy Plants, whereas Noctowl, I believe, is only 1 times resistant against them. But yeah, we take down that Venusaur. We do use a shield on our end though, but we do have that extra energy for whatever comes in, and that's Vigoroth. So that's okay. We fire off the Sky Attack. We burn the shield, which completely makes up for our shield we used earlier. And they almost got a little too greedy there, as we almost got to another Sky Attack, but that's okay. We have Lantern or Fortress in the back. And we know our Lantern had some saved energy, so we decide to not block this. It was a good call on us, and we're going to go for the Thunderbolt to burn the last shield, potentially. And then we swap into our Fortress, and they swap into their Noctowl. Now, this is a scenario where Fortress will win, because we have the shield, guys. And we obviously aren't going to block that for a Sky Attack, because we need to see if this Rock Tomb will be enough, or if 2 Rock Tombs will be enough. At this point, I figured, okay, we might as well shield, I believe. Or no, we don't shield, sorry. And that's because we can farm this Noctowl for a bunch of energy, and we do. And even if their Vigoroth has energy, we have that shield still, and we are going to beat them to our T-Bolt, and that's going to faint Vigoroth. So GG's and well played in this game as well. I hope you guys are learning about some like shielding scenarios in some certain matchups right now. And yeah, let's get into the next game. So in this game, we're going to go with Venomoth as a lead. We have Heracross, and then we have Lantern. So I am aware this is a lineup that's 2 times weak to Flyers, but they open Heracross, so that's amazing, and they switch into Noctowl. So this is the ideal scenario for this line, because we would be pretty weak to Noctowl, but since we got that solid lead matchup, they were forced to swap into this Noctowl, which means our Lantern can go to town on it. So now our Venomoth and our Heracross are pretty much safe for the most part, and they decide to bring that Heracross back in. We're going to fire off this Thunderbolt to force a shield, which they do, which it does, so that's perfect. And now whatever we bring in, whether it's Venomoth, it can tank pretty much anything, but we do decide to shield because we don't want to see what Megahorn would do. And he does actually have a second Flyer counter, so that's really smart on them to bring that and be aware. But it is Graveler, so we do have Heracross, and we decide to block that Rock Blast because we know we're gonna get a Megahorn, and this is gonna force a shield because they can't tank a Megahorn. You know what I mean? And right here, they're just trying to farm energy, but they got greedy, and it just comes down to a tie between Heracross. But remember, we still had Venomoth in the back, so we take that game. So in this next game, Battlers, we're going to be opening Vigoroth. We have Venomoth, I almost called it Venomoth. Venomoth in the middle, and then Lantern in the back. So this definitely is a strong team comp because Venomoth is a counter to Vigoroth. Then Vigoroth is a counter to Noctowl, which is a counter to my Venomoth. And then we also have Lantern, which is another counter to most of the bug types, and it does well against Heracross as well. So yeah, they open with Ninjask, which is my first time facing one, and I knew Ninjask had Shadow Ball, so we decided not block. Obviously, we are going to be immune to Shadow Ball, if I recall correctly. Yeah, this Ninjask is actually doing a hurting on us with that Fury Cutter. But that's okay because we're going to farm energy, and they're going to switch out into Venusaur. So, good switch, but we do have the Grass Wall that is Venomoth. So, we can tank anything from this. As you can see, Sludge Bomb. it doesn't even do half our HP, so that's really good, and those confusions hurt. So Venomoth is definitely a strong pick if you would like that grass coverage for your team, and if you'd also like somewhat of a flyer in quotes, because it's not actually flying type, but you know, it's a bug, so it flies. So it can actually beat Vigoroth in 2 shielding scenarios, I think. But yeah, you guys can see confusion is hurting, and they decided to switch into that Ninjask, which they almost had the timing down. I almost got to my Silverwind, but I think that was just a bad read on when I actually had my charge move charged up. So yeah, I like to store extra energy with Venomoth since it takes so long to use those confusions. But yeah, let's get into the next game. So getting into this next game here, we're going to be opening Heracross, and they opened Venusaur. So pretty good opening for us. We are able to beat Venusaur in this matchup if we shield twice, I think. I'm just not sure. I haven't really studied my Heracross matchups against Venusaur quite that much. Or well, I did, but I forgot because I made that meta video like a week and a half ago. So but yeah, we decided to not block that Frenzy Plant to see the damage it does, and it does do quite a bit. They are going to use both shields though. So yes, if we do double shield, we do win the matchup. But they decide again to give me switch priority by switching out of their Venusaur. So these small little errors are definitely costing them. So this is a lesson I want all you guys to learn who are watching this video is, if you win the opening lead matchup, there's no reason why you should have to switch out of your Pokemon. There's no reason for you to save it. If you win the opener matchup, that's what that Pokemon was for, to win that opening matchup. So in my opinion, they had no reason to swap out of Venusaur there. Just let it die, guys. It's okay. Giving up switch priority will lose you the game if they have the balanced lineup. So yeah, that's one of my main tips and takeaways from this is even if you want your lead Pokemon to stay alive, it's not always the smartest option to switch it out and turn over switch advantage. Especially if their team just counters yours better just by straight like picking and luck. You usually don't want to give up that switch advantage unless you need that lead Pokemon for something later. It's all dependent on your gut feeling. Like, you know, if you think they have a Venusaur in the back and your lead was a Fortress, but it came out in a bad matchup, that's a scenario where you'd probably want to switch out so that later on you could potentially face a Venusaur with your Fortress. But anyways, jumping into the next battle here, we have Lantern against Vigoroth. Now this is an unfavorable matchup because we don't want to get shield baited by Bulldoze, so we decided to not block, and that just puts us in a terrible scenario. But that's where I switch out, and we do have that extra energy. So if you do ever want to switch out of a scenario like that, make sure you have stored energy. That's also one of my biggest tips is just make sure you have stored energy for scenarios like this. Because now we are going to force a shield out of that Noctowl. And we do decide to shield this because we know Water Gun will feint us, or will feint Noctowl before Noctowl feints us. And unluckily, they do get another Sky Attack off, but we decide to shield because we can potentially, guys, get to another Thunderbolt and force their last shield as well. So it's a gamble for sure by us. And they do bring in Fortress, so we pretty much lose this gamble, but they do decide to shield. But the problem is we have Venomoth in the back, and those Rock Tombs are going to hurt a lot. So all we can do is pray for a boost here, and we don't get it. So this is pretty much a GG. This Rock Tomb is going to hurt, as you can see there. And yeah, that's just going to wreck us, and our Lantern has 1 HP. Yeah, that's a GG. They definitely got the read finally on my Venomoth squad. Fortress, definitely a good Pokemon to defend against those hard-hitting bug types like Venomoth and Dustox. Highly recommend Fortress. So getting into this next battle, we're going to be leading with Vigoroth again. Vigoroth is one of the safest leads in this meta as long as they don't lead with a fighter. So they lead Noctowl, and again, this is a positive matchup in 2 shields. So all we need to do here is go with those body slams. Counters again are dealing 1 times damage, so neutral. So they are chipping away pretty quickly, whereas wing attack isn't chipping away nearly as much as counter is. So we are going to have to shield to win this positive matchup, and obviously we want to win it, right? So we're going to go for a little bit of an extra energy farm there, feint the Noctowl, and now we only need about 2 or 3 counters to get to body slam. 3, okay, yep. And we actually are able to get off another body slam, so that's extra for us. We didn't really need that, but we got it. So I mean, the more damage done to that Vigoroth, the better. So now we're going to switch into Lantern, because we know we can tank these hits better than Noctowl can. So we're going to decide to shield that, and we called it correctly. It was a Bulldoze. And here they go again. They gave up switch advantage. So now we have Noctowl versus Spirit Tomb. Not Spirit Tomb, Fortress. What am I saying? But it has Rock Tomb. But the thing is, it takes them a long time to get to that. And because of that, we are going to beat them to another Sky Attack, which means they're probably going to shield here. And they do shield. So that's really good for us. They are going to be able to feint us though. Obviously they have the shield advantage. But now is a perfect time to just farm that Fortress for energy. And we know their last Pokemon is that Vigoroth with very low HP. So we're just going to finish it off with a Hydro Pump and take that final game of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned from this video and why you shouldn't give up switch advantage, and as well as why you should save charge energy in case you want to give up your switch advantage, because later in the game it could definitely help you to win even though you started the match off rough. So that is one way to win even in a bad lead scenario, is to pull out that Pokemon, but make sure they have a bunch of stored energy, and listen to your gut for the most part. If you believe they have a Pokemon in the back that you are going to need to counter later on in the game, and your lead just happens to be the counter for that Pokemon, make sure you get out of there and make sure you have some stored energy for whatever's in the back, and that could definitely lead to a win for you. So yeah, those are my main takeaways. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Jungle Cup practice battles versus our opponent, who is getting better and better by the day. I can just tell. And yeah, again, if you're new, please don't forget to drop a subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below what your favorite line of 3 is for the Jungle Cup. And until the next video, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.